What's up, family? It's your girl, Dr. Shauna. I am live on YouTube and Facebook, of course. We are going to have this coronavirus conversation. We need to have this conversation. I am not going to keep you guys long because I know you all have a life. It's Friday, and you guys are all out having corona parties. Because you know how we do, how black folks do. We make a party out of every goddamn thing. There's going to be coronavirus parties going on tonight, coronavirus parties going on tomorrow. You know how black people are. We are just ridiculous. So I'm not going to keep you guys tonight. I'm just going to bring you some information that I thought we should talk about because I'm hearing so much going on about this COVID-19, aka coronavirus. And some of the information is accurate, some of the information is not accurate, but I am not here to talk about the accuracy, the inaccuracies of coronavirus or anything like that. I want to talk about how this is going to really hurt our families. I want to really have this deep conversation. Not going to keep you long, but I really want to have this conversation because oftentimes I notice in our community, we either make fun of everything, we don't believe anything, or we are not prepared, right? We are not prepared. So this is what I want to talk about tonight. I thank you guys all for joining on, both on YouTube and Facebook. I thank you guys for joining on. Peace and blessings to all my sisters and brothers and our guests. Because you know the guests always like to pop in. They don't like to say nothing, but they like to pop in to see what the hell we talking about. So we want to be nice. We want to say hi to our guests. But y'all know what the rules are. If you want to start some stuff on this page, you're going to get blocked and deleted. It's just as simple as that. You can join in and listen. You can engage in critical conversation. But what you cannot do is be disrespectful. So I really love my moderators on on YouTube. To my moderators, go ahead and block people if they want to get ignorant and they want to take this into a race area, because you know how we get down. We tell the truth, and the truth hurts some people. But we got to talk about the truth. So y'all know I cannot examine anything that happens in this world without me cross-referencing it to race and class. It's just as simple as that, right? Just as simple as that. Let me add on. Race, class, and mindset. It's just as simple as that. But we know that makes people upset. And y'all know I only come on when I have something to say. And tonight I got something to say. So peace to all my sisters and brothers. How y'all doing? Now, I don't know about y'all. Before we get started, I don't know about y'all, but this coronavirus thing is not scaring me, but it do be messing with my head. I don't know about you guys. I swear, when I got off work today, I thought my throat was all like hot. I thought I had a fever. I'm not playing games with people. Somebody recognized me on the streets of Newark and wanted to come give Dr. Sean a hug. And I said, hold on now. You might got corona. Come on, just, dab a sister like this. Dab a sister gotta go. You know, I usually give hugs, but not tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. The hugs are suspended. I just want everybody to know the hugs are suspended. So if you see Dr. Sean on the street, go ahead and smile, but don't try to hug me this time around because we are not playing those games. I'm not like one of those black folks that be like, I don't know no black person that got it. This is a hoax. It ain't for us. Our immune system is super strong. It ain't going to get us. This is a white person's disease. This is an Asian person's disease. All of that stuff is pure stupidity, right? All of that stuff is pure stupidity. I said it. I'm going to say it again. I know I have a lot of people out there who are conspiracy theories, and so am I. So am I, but I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. See, conspiracy theories are not stupid. We may understand that this thing here may have been created in a lab, but if white folks are covering up and running, I'm doing the same goddamn thing as y'all created it. Right? So, Lord Jesus. See, somebody said, I know 3 people who got it in Chicago. Same family. See what I'm talking about? I'm not playing no games. I'm not playing no games with nobody. Don't touch me. All right, guys, let's get going. First of all, we got to really have a serious conversation because what I'm noticing is our community in particular, We always get raped. And I know that's not a language that many people have to like to use, but today you're just gonna get raw, Shauna. You're just gonna get me raw today. And what I mean by that, let me tell you a little story about what happened so you can understand why I say our community always gets raped. Just gonna say it like that. If you don't like the words, replace it with something else. It is what it is. We just having an honest conversation on a Friday night. So yesterday, I was monitoring the emails that I was getting from my daughter's university. She goes to school in New York City. And they kept us up to date with what they were doing with the coronavirus, as many companies are doing it. Last minute, her university decided that they were not going to hold classes on campus for the rest of the semester. And they told every last parent and child that we got to come and move our kids out for those who can move their kids out. Some kids are here from other countries. So, because it's an Ivy League university, so y'all know how you got those Ivy League universities. They come in from all over Africa, Europe, you name it, Australia. They come from all over to go to university when it's Ivy League. So they basically said that for those who can leave, you got to go. And the minute we move them out and we go ahead and sign the paperwork, of course, the rest of our money for the dorm is going to be prorated and returned to us. But all the classes are going to be online. Now, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But I got a little upset, right? I got a little upset. This was making me come on and speak today. I got a little upset and I was kind of annoyed because this is my oldest child, the first one out of my children to go to college, because the other ones are too young, right? The first one's out of my children to go to college, and she's graduating in May. We don't even know if it's going to be a graduation in May. Chances are it's not going to be a graduation because everybody is canceling everything. So we have this cap and gown that we had to pay for. I don't think she's going to walk in May. I was really looking forward to that. So I go and I pick up my daughter. We're having this conversation about it. She's bummed out because she did it. She's a pre-med student. She bust her ass in an Ivy League university to maintain a 3.8 GPA, and she's not going to be able to walk because there's no graduation. So that we know of as of right now, there's no graduation. So I said, let me go ahead and stop at this store real quick to see if I can pick up some items before I get back over to New Jersey. Now I stopped at the store. The store is located across the street from the projects. Now, y'all know I notice everything, right? I notice everything. I may look like I'm aloof, right? I may look like I got blonde hair and things don't register in my head, but I notice everything. So I go inside the store, and all the items that I'm interested in, their prices look higher. So I get to the front, and I said, do you guys have any sanitizing wipes or hand sanitizers in the store? And of course they don't, because nobody does. And the lady says, but we have Lysol. And there's really big bottles, you know, the spray cans, the big cans of the Lysol sitting on the counter right by the register. Now, what store keeps Lysol right there? Lysols are usually on the shelves. They're never at the register like it's candy when you're checking out. So she said, we have this one, we have this one. And those jars were like $9 or $10. It was like a ridiculous price. And I said to them, I said, are you price gouging? Are you price gouging? And you should have seen all the Indians looking around, looking at each other. Like, why is she saying so? Because no one else is saying anything. You know, it's a lady there who is Hispanic. She's like, well, no, they don't have, but you better get that Lysol. I'm getting that Lysol. She just picking up the Lysol, putting it on the counter so she can pay for it, so she can go across the street to the projects where she lives, and you just pay for something that is double what it is in the store any given day. So I said, you're price gouging? I'm going to report you. You can't be here and price gouge. We don't do stuff like that. And so now I'm at this point where I'm already annoyed at the university. I understand why they did what they did, but I'm already annoyed that my schedule gets interrupted and now I got to figure out how to move things around to move my daughter out of a dorm when I wasn't anticipating that. So I'm already annoyed by that. And now I go into this store in the hood and you price gouging. So I said to myself, let me go home because I want to look at the history. I want to pull some research, the history over time to see patterns of behavior, how people respond in a crisis, what it does to the economy, and what it does to Black families. That's what I wanted to know. Now, no one is talking about what it does to Black families when it comes to the researchers, but they all talking about everything else. So I decided that I'm going to take a little different approach, and I'm going to let you guys see what happens to Black families when we have this kind of crisis. Because we got to get better. We got to stop responding like this. We got to stop allowing people to come into our communities and rape us of the little bit that we have. You see, if something goes down and we have to get up and leave an area in order for us to increase our chances of being safe, the truth is so many of us, our families, are not going to be able to do it because so many of us do not have savings galore, do not have access to wealth. We cannot afford to pick up. Listen, half of us don't even got six months savings to cover rent and mortgages if we were to lose our jobs. And you see, when we go through something like this, we have to really think in these terms. We have to think that if this takes a nasty turn and my income greatly diminishes, can I survive? Can I survive? And see, I want to see more of us get there. I want to see more of us start thinking this way. I want to see more of us start planning when this kind of news hits. We don't sit back and we don't laugh and make jokes and make memes and pass misinformation and start having all these conspiracy theory conversations. Yeah, you want to do that shit? Go ahead and do it. But you really need to plan. Because this is going to have a devastating effect on our families. Whether we get the coronavirus or not, we are going to be impacted. So let me tell you guys what I found out. So I went all the way back to 1832. That's where I went. Y'all know I like research. Go ahead and get your pen and paper. I ain't going to give you a whole bunch of history because I want to get to the meat of this because I ain't staying on here long tonight. I'm going to go gargle my throat because I'm a little health conscious. Y'all know me. I take supplements all day. I take my vitamin E. I take my vitamin D. I take my vitamin C. I take my magnesium. I take my black seed oil. I take my burdock root. Like, I don't play no games, right? So when my throat start feeling kind of itchy, I be all panicking and stuff. I be putting bleach on everything, right? So, yeah. Anyway, so I ain't going to keep you on here tonight. But let me tell you what I found out. In 1832, when I'm talking about the New York City area, globally, there was an outbreak that started with the Asiatic, what is it called? Cholera? I think it's called cholera or cholera, whatever the case is. It was an outbreak that had originated in India. And after India, it spread over to Russia, then to Europe, Egypt, killing 4% of Egypt's population, and then it came over to New York City. And when it hit New York City, so you have to understand why this is significant. Because New York City, as we know it, is pretty much like the capital of the world. And even though the World Trade Center took a hit back in 2001, New York City still remains that hub. It still is one of those places where everyone looks to see what people are doing in New York, what the trends are in New York, how people are moving, shaking, and grinding in New York, because it sets the stage and the tone for the rest of the world, right? And so when it happened in New York City, People started to panic. We already know, we see it right now. What you're seeing is nothing new. And it's important for us to really go through history so we can have some context of what happens. People started to panic. And there were people who were able to, they started panicking, packing up their cars, leaving New York City. They started to pull their money out of the banks, right? Because that's what we tend to do. The stock market will drop. People will pull their monies out of banks. People would start panicking and leaving the area. So many things were happening in New York City because they were afraid of getting sick. And you see all of this happening right now. Now, when they started to do all of that stuff, they also started to go into the stores. This is back in 1832. Follow the bouncing ball, people. Go into the stores, buying up all the groceries, taking everything off the shelves, being greedy, hoarding all this stuff because they are afraid that they're not going to be able to go outside. They're going to be quarantined. They're going to be starving to death, and they don't want to die. Now, who are the people who gets to go into the stores and buy everything off the shelf? We got to really think about that. And that's what I did. I sat back, and of course, most people would look at these articles. This is in a Time magazine. I think this Time magazine was written in 2018. But most people would say, yeah, and they would look at the article and keep it moving. But who's really unpacking these articles and saying, how does this apply to me? How does it apply to my community? And what can I learn from this? You see, I went into the stores not too long ago. And no place, no matter where I went, no place, not only did they not have hand sanitizer, they didn't have toilet tissue. They didn't have toilet tissue. Like, things were off the shelf. You could not find juice. Juice was gone. You could not find water. It was all gone. The shelves were ridiculous. So I had to say to myself, who are the people that's walking into these stores clearing the shelves? I mean, carts. People were leaving with carts filled. Now, if some of us are already struggling to keep food in our houses, then we know we are not the people in these supermarkets or these Walmart superstores clearing the shelves. Clearing the shelves. Eating it all up. And this is what happens. So I said to myself, what about our community? So I called one of my girlfriends who is in the school system in New York City. And I called her and I said, did they shut down your school? Like, what is happening? And you know what she said to me, what broke my heart? She said, no, New York City schools are still open. And truth be told, Shauna, the reason why we are open is because we're having a hard time making the decision, because we know if we close these schools, so many of our children are not going to eat. Because a lot of children are in these schools for the food, for the meals. And that broke my heart, because so many of us, we're not wrapping our heads around what it really looks like for our communities. We're not really wrapping our heads around what impact this is going to have in so many of our homes. So I can go through all the different outbreaks from when the flu came in 1918. I can go through Ebola. I can go through chickenpox, smallpox, mumps, measles. Like, this is not new. This always happens. But the poor is left devastated. So I sat back and I started to take my notes. And I said, how will this impact our families? So this is what I want to share with you guys, because I want to know what your thoughts are, what you're thinking. First of all, let's start with jobs. If you really pay attention to the economy and how the economy has been going over the last decades, jobs, and don't get offended to my baby boomers. Y'all know I love the baby boomers. Some of them make my hair gray, right? Some of them make my hair gray. But I love my boomers, because if I don't love my boomers, that means I don't love my auntie and my mother. May she rest in peace, and the list goes on. So don't get offended. But the economy today is not like it was for when the boomers were growing up, and when the boomers became adults, and when the boomers entered the job market. You see, the job market in the boomers' days was more stable. They had more jobs that offered better pay, better insurance packages, fringe benefits. It was just better. They were able to save, they were able to purchase, they were able to do things that we are not able to do. So you cannot look at the coronavirus for today without considering where this economy has been going over the last 10 years. People are working part-time jobs. Like, employers have gotten really crafty with how they have people employed. They're 1099s. There are more 1099s now. There's a whole bunch of contract jobs out there. There are people with part-time jobs. There are people with reduced hours. You name it. So many crazy things are going on with the economy because about 10 years ago, they found ways to cut corners, still get their work done so they can make the money, because capitalism grows every year. It gets worse. And they learn how to take advantage of certain populations. And I don't care if you have a college education. I don't care if you're college educated. There are so many people who are college educated who don't have fringe benefits, who don't have health insurance, who don't have savings, because the way the jobs are structured now, it makes it impossible for that to happen. So when an outbreak happens and businesses start to lose money, what do you think is going to happen to all those part-time employees? What do you think is going to happen to those people who are not heavy hitters in their corporations? Now, if you're in certain government jobs, you're going to have more job security than others. If you're in certain government jobs where they can't really cut their staff, because if they cut staff, it's going to cost people their lives, right? So when you're in those kind of jobs, you're more secure. But trust me when I say, when money is lost, jobs are going to be lost. So when I say, are you guys prepared for that? Hopefully it never happens to you. But are you prepared if your hours get reduced, if your income gets reduced, or if your job gets taken away? Are you prepared for that? We got to look at places like Walmart, for example, and how they have their employees going. They have already replaced a large portion of their market with kiosks. Everything is self-serve. So Walmart, if you go to Walmart, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Walmart. Just let me know. If you go to Walmart, you can get through that store no problem because it's not crowded. So if it's not crowded, then you know that people are not spending their money there. And if people are not spending their money there in this capitalistic society, that means the business is not profiting. And if the business is not profiting, but they got to pay your health insurance, they got to pay your salary, they got to pay for their business insurance, they got to pay for their supplies, they got to pay for their overhead, they got bills to pay. And if the money's not coming in, any business person, I'm a business person, we know if the money is not coming in, we have to cut costs. And cutting costs also means cutting jobs and cutting hours and cutting salaries. We have to trim the fat. So what does that mean to our families? What does that mean to our families when something like this hits? You could be employed today and next week you'll be unemployed. Somebody said my Walmart was packed. Where is your Walmart at, Octavia? Because my Walmart was not packed. I was flowing right through there laughing with people in Walmart. And not only was my Walmart not packed, and I live by New York City. Not only was my Walmart not packed, there was one register open. So what does that mean? If there's one registered open, what did they do with the other employees that work there? Yeah, you know, self-checkout. Self-checkout, somebody's coming in from Japan. What's up in Japan? How's it going in there? That's right, somebody's self-checkout. That's what it is. That's what it is. And a lot of businesses are reporting lost revenues. A lot of businesses are reporting lost revenues because there's nothing on the shelves. Now, I can leave here right now. Somebody said, was the shelves empty at yours? Yes, the shelves were empty at my Walmart. I can leave here right now and go to Walmart and you guys will see. As a matter of fact, I am going to do that. After I finish this video, I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to take video and I'm going to upload it. There is nothing on the shelves. And so at a time where people were in there shopping, why weren't all the registers filled? Why weren't they filled? See, businesses, we know how to think ahead of time. We know how to think ahead of time when we are business owners. Because we understand through history, that's why I said before I started this video, we got to talk about the history of pandemics and epidemics. We have to talk about it. Because the history is supposed to set the stage for the future. You're supposed to learn from the history so you can make different choices. See, somebody said nothing on Walmart, Target, or Costco shelves in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm not making this stuff up. Nothing on the shelves. So if there's nothing to buy, it's not going to be packed. If there's nothing to buy, it's not going to be packed. And if it's not packed, they're not going to have people on those registers. And if the people are not on the registers, then they're home. And if the people are home, they're not getting a paycheck. And if they're not getting a paycheck, their bills are not getting paid. And if their bills are not getting paid, they're subjected to eviction. They're subjected to reduced food. And so many other things start to happen. We should be planning ahead of time. We shouldn't wait for an epidemic to happen for us to plan. But I understand it is hard to plan. When collectively, we're not talking about the 1 or 2% of us that have wealth. Collectively, when we don't have money, it's hard to plan. And we know that every day, that is our lives for many of us. When we know we want to plan, but we don't have it. So what else happens in a household? Your income. Your income is going to happen. There are people who had jobs that are in contract positions, meaning 1099s, and they're walking around here boastful. Oh, I'm making this much money. They're going out there buying expensive cars, all this crazy stuff. But guess what? If you are a contractor, you are a contractor for a reason, right? Because they did not want to pay you all the fringe benefits. And when it comes to contractors, before they cut their employees, they're always going to cut their contractors. Because contractors typically get paid a little bit more than employees because there's no fringe benefits attached to it. So if they're going to cut anybody, they're going to cut their contractors. So here you are with your big car note. Here you are flossing. And your income can immediately go from 6 figures to no figures. Just that quick. How much of that money did you save? How much money did you invest? How much money did you put aside if your job gets cut? Somebody said a job is designed to maintain you, not sustain you. That is excellent, killer of white supremacy and coons. Oh my God, that's his name. But anyway, that is excellent because that is the truth. That is the truth. And if we had that mindset, that killer of white supremacy and coon says that a job is meant to maintain you, not sustain you. If we had that mindset, would we make different choices? Would we make better choices in order for us to be prepared? Right? Somebody said, I'm starting to keep my grown daughters out of my pocket. Baby, listen. You should have did it a long time ago, but I'm glad you started now, Danny. Right? And somebody said, J-O-B, just over broke. You are absolutely right. See, but we have to, yep, somebody else said it. Janelle just said it on Facebook. JOB means just over broke. And if we know these things, are we prepared to combat them? Okay, let's get into the next issue. Health. Health. Now, if you lose your job and your job just happens to have benefits, you lost your health insurance. What's going to happen to you? See, we got to think that way. Everything has a trickling effect. Nothing is independent. Everything is interconnected. Health. And it's bad enough when it comes to our community. We need more of us in our community to take health care seriously. So we already know when we have health insurance, too many of us still don't go to the goddamn doctors. So what's going to happen when we lose our health insurance? You know damn sure they ain't going to go to the doctor. And guess what's going to get stressed? The emergency room is going to get stressed. And the hospitals are going to get stressed. And guess what's going to happen with that? There's going to be outstanding bills because people ain't going to have no money to pay their medical bills. And yeah, their credit is going to get hit because that's going to be reported. You're going to be reported to a collection agency. But when you ain't got no goddamn money, you ain't worried about no collection agency. And when you get back on your feet and you're ready to get an apartment, you got collections on your account. So you can't get no goddamn apartment. But do we think about this? Do we think about this? This is going to really hurt our community. And see, if you lose your job and you lose your income and you are on medication that is keeping you alive or managing your symptoms, heart disease, diabetes, you name it, and you can't afford to get your medication, what's that going to do with your health? See, we all worry about getting the coronavirus. I'm not worried about getting no coronavirus, although I got to go gargle. Although I am concerned about my throat. It's feeling kind of itchy. But my concern isn't that. My concern is what's going to happen as a result of this. What's going to happen? So I'm sitting here and I'm looking on social media. I'm quiet. I'm in a cut. When y'all think I'm not on, trust me, I'm on. I'm just watching and I'm reading what people are writing. And I'm in a few groups and I'm seeing what people are saying. And not too many people are having this conversation whatsoever. Not too many. We're more entertained. We want to talk about how the government manufactured this and the government went over to China and the government did this, or Chinese people eating snakes and bats and that's why we got coronavirus. Oh, that's all, it's all set up. You don't see it in Africa, which is a lie, by the way. That is a bold-faced lie. But you don't see it in Africa. This is what I'm talking about. We got to move to Africa. We strong people. We just, okay, guys, seriously, you might lose your goddamn job. Do you see what the news is reported on the economy? Do you see the stock market was taking hits almost every day? Do you see that not only is the CDC on it, not only is WHO on it, the World Health Organization, not only is all these other professionals and news medias on there, every goddamn person across the globe that's in a position to decide what is happening with the people and the economy are moving. They're planning. They're moving. And we're sitting up here entertaining dumb shit. I don't understand it. Like, what the hell is going on in our heads? I don't understand why we find humor in this when it's going to have an impact. You know how I know it's going to have that impact? Let me show you how it goes. I'm getting into the next topic, children. So if you got children, listen up. If you got nieces and nephews in your family, you need to listen up. Thank you for the donation, brother. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. 2Q, brother. Thank you for that. This is how it's going to impact your children. Next topic. Now, I can't tell y'all where I'm contracted at. Because if I do, I'm going to have to kill all of y'all. But nonetheless, I'm contracted to provide a specific clinical service to a specific community who's hit hard on different areas that impact children. I'm just going to put it like that. And at the table, all of us are experts. And we're all from different fields, different industries. I can't tell you guys what I witnessed at that table. It was just so shocking. People are arguing with each other about how we should go about handling this coronavirus in all of our offices, with all of our staff, how we should go about. We got a person who's a nurse telling the physician, and I have to say physician on purpose, telling the physician that she's not the only doctor at the table, because like almost all of us are doctors in our own fields because we're all experts. The physician gets her ego hurt, screams back at the nurse. She may not be the only doctor at the table, but she's the only physician, and she knows what the hell she's talking about regarding viruses, including corona, because coronavirus is not new. You got MERS, which is a coronavirus. You got SARS, which is a coronavirus. This is just a different strand, just like flu has different strands. Same thing. She's yelling and screaming at the table. I'm sitting here like, y'all doing exactly why I'm contracted, why I'm hired to come into this organization. Y'all doing exactly why I'm here, creating chaos and panic. Well, I had to sit back and I had to just ask a question. What are we going to do about the children that we're all employed to protect? See, because these schools are closing down and children are being sent home. And some of these children don't have food to eat. So how are they going to eat? And some of these parents of the children will have their hours cut, or they'll be temporarily laid off, or they will be sent home, and only if they're lucky, they're in jobs where they're able to work remotely. Only if they're lucky, because not all employers offer remote work. And I said, so if some of these parents have to go to work and their children don't have school and they don't have the money to afford childcare, especially at the drop of a dime, because not many people have the money to operate that way, who's going to be supervising these children? Who is going to be supervising these children? And if these children are left alone, if something happens, the media is going to be on every last expert at this table because we're charged with a job. We're going to be under fire. Every last one of us are going to be under fire. Because we're responsible for making sure every last child in this state is protected. See, we got to think that way. We want to argue about egos and positions and title and education and whose balls are bigger than the next person. But we got children. We got children that are going to be abused. We got children that are going to be neglected. We got children that's going to be sexually molested. See, this is the reality of the world that I work in. This is the reality of the world that I work in. See, many of you guys don't get to see what I read on a daily basis, or the work that I get called in to do when there is a traumatic event and people have lost their lives. Right? No, I mean the world that I live in, not we live in. Because see, some people don't live in this world. Some people sit back and they have opinions about everything with no facts and no data, and they don't have to get up and do this work every day. I got to get up and do this work every day in that world. See, when I go into those people's worlds, it's not my world. And I got to make sense of it. And I got to be able to tell somebody who's 5 years old, who's been sexually assaulted, that it isn't their fault. You understand what I'm saying? So no, we all don't live in that world. And when things like this happen, when there's pandemics and epidemics like this that's happened, It is our communities that is invisible. It is our communities that tend to get overlooked. Right? And when I'm sitting at the table and it's only 2 or 3 black faces, it is our children that's going to be hurt. So that's why I got to sit back. And I got to sit back and I got to say, you know what? How is this going to impact the children we're responsible for? If these schools are closed, who's watching them? And if we're going on reduced schedules and we're working remotely, and some of us got guns and badges and we have the authority to lock up the bad people, right? Allegedly. And we're home chilling, eating popcorn and watching TV. Who's going to make sure that that pedophile is not reoffending? Who's going to make sure that the drug abusing mama or daddy is not passed out with the 2-year-old in the house unattended? See, we got to really think about that stuff. See, I don't get the luxury of not thinking about trauma. I don't get the luxury of not thinking about the impact it's going to have on the people that I'm responsible for when it comes to their mental health. I don't get that luxury. I don't get that luxury. Some people get to go to sleep at night and they don't got to worry about this because their kids are safe and their kids are housed and their kids are fed and their kids are not being abused and neglected. And Chester Molester is not in the bedroom next door with their kids. But the vulnerable families that I am charged with protecting, I can't sleep at night. Because I don't want to get called in and I got to process a case and I got to be the one to deliver the news. Or I got to be the one to console the family. Or I got to be the one to console the worker. Or to help my staff cope with a death. I got to be the one to do it. So this is going to have some devastating effects on our communities. See, we're already overrepresented in the prison system. We're overrepresented in the child abuse system. We're overrepresented in the mental health system. We're overrepresented. Those numbers are the truth. They don't lie. They don't lie. We're overrepresented. But we don't have enough advocates for our representation in these facilities. Thank you so much for the donation. Who's that? Ms. Raw Ebby. Thank you for the donation. We don't have enough advocates in our community where we are overrepresented. Right? We don't. What else is going to happen? Let's talk about domestic violence. See, this has a trickling effect. We already have a hard enough time getting domestic violence and intimate partner abuse, what they call it now, intimate partner abuse, because domestic violence is everybody in the house, all right? So it could be domestic violence when it's happening to the kids. It could be domestic violence when it's happening between siblings, right? But intimate partner abuse is what I'm talking about. So we already have enough issues with that going on in our community. I can tell you so many devastating cases where people have gotten their heads blown off in public at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because their boyfriends or their husbands got mad, shoot them, and keep it moving down the street like nothing happened. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Y'all can look up all these stories. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make it up. We already have enough problems. But you let people lose their jobs. And people get stressed out because they can't pay no bills. And see what's going to happen in those kind of households. Right? See, we got to talk about the intergenerational transmissions of trauma and the intergenerational transmissions of abuse and the post-traumatic slave syndrome that gets passed down from generation to generation in our families, and how these things will continuously show up, and they will get worse when the economy in the world as a whole is doing bad. We get it worse. I can't make this stuff up. We get it worse. Right? So Danny's saying we've been the outcast since 1619 at every level. You're absolutely right. We get it worse. This is what happens. So I need y'all to share the video, because we got to start thinking differently. We got to start thinking about how we're going to plan, how we're going to look out for each other, how we're going to make sure we have our own little system going on, our own little African village going on, that we are protecting our most vulnerable populations within our communities. Because, yeah, people get paychecks to say they're protecting our communities. And they try to do a great job. Some do a terrible job. But at the end of the day, the onus is on us. At the end of the day, we need to make sure we have things in place, because we need to think about stuff like that. We need to think about, okay, well, this is going to happen in this economy. And we already know that the researchers say, you don't have to believe me, go do your own research. The researchers let you know when these things happen, increases will happen in certain areas like substance abuse. People are going to be abusing drugs and alcohol even more. Even when the economy is doing bad, you ain't got no money, but you can find some drugs. You ain't got no money, but you're going to have a drink. So what is that going to look like in our households? What is that going to look like in our communities? What is that going to look like? Right? What's that going to look like? We are responsible for the care and upkeep of our communities. We are. We are. We are. They're not going to do it. They never have done it. That's why we are the ones that's hurt the most when these things happen. So that's what I was doing. I was sitting back and I was just thinking about these things. I said, even mental health. Mental health, this is creating hysteria. Hysteria. And people are panicking. People don't even know what anxiety looks like, because we don't use words like that. We don't use words like depression. And I'm not saying not all of us. I'm saying too many of us. We don't use words like depression. We don't use words like anxiety. We don't even know what schizophrenia is for many of us. We just say, oh, he always talks to himself. Oh, please, he done lost his brain a long time ago. I think he got like that when his mama died. Yeah, I think he got like that when his brother died. That's how he got like that. No, baby, he got schizophrenia. He got schizophrenia. So you think we have all this other stuff going on in our lives, we're going to be looking out for our family members that have mental health, especially when we already deny the fact that they got mental health? What is that going to look like for our communities? What is that going to look like in our communities? People are already panicking. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing people who are supposed to be the leaders in their fields fighting with each other and not realizing that they're fighting because their anxiety is up as well. People don't want you sneezing by them. Everybody panicking. Everybody under anxiety. Everybody breaking down. And I'm looking at the people in the office like, what the hell is going on here? Why are you acting crazy? Everybody breaking down. Some people carry guns. And if you can't handle this and keep your mind together, what the hell are you going to do with that gun? I don't want to be next to you with that gun. I don't want to be next to you. How is that going to look in our community? We already know that cops shooting people in our communities left and right. You think these cops ain't afraid Even more so that now they got to be on the street with the coronavirus and doing their job. They ain't trying to arrest you. You might just get a bullet. Let the coroner come and get your body. I ain't putting my hands on that guy. Shit, he's sneezing. Yeah, I'm telling you, people are really thinking crazy. Crazy. Elaine is saying, yeah, I do. My dad was diagnosed with schizophrenia. I know what it's like to suffer from depression and anxiety attacks. And I'm glad you do, Elaine. And thank you for being bold to be able to say that. Thank you for standing in your vulnerability and being able to say that. Because I am so sick and tired of people in our community making it seem like this shit don't impact us. It does. It does. We are not exempt from it. It does. And we have to think about these things when there is an emergency like this, a state of emergency. Forget about whether you're going to get it or not. What does your community look like? Who's providing the child care? Who's checking in to make sure our most vulnerable, our elderly, our mentally ill, who's making sure that they are okay? Who's opening up their doors to make sure every household is eating, that they have food? We in there hoarding the supermarkets and buying everything off the shelf for the people who can afford to do so. But are you feeding your community? Are you feeding your neighbor? Are you feeding that black little kid that you always talk about that looks dirty and messy outside? You always got something to say about their mama. Maybe they need something to eat. Are you feeding them? So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Because we get hit the hardest. We get hit the hardest. And we got to get out of this individualistic mindset. And we have to get back to collectivism. We have to make sure we take care of the least of us. We have to make sure that we take care of our neighbors. We take care of our families. We take care of our friends. We take care of our frenemies. And in some cases, our enemies. We have to make sure, and when I say our enemies, I'm talking about you mad at the girlfriend down the block because y'all used to be friends, but she cheated on you with your man, and you hope that bum bitch die and her kids get sick. But at the end of the day, when there's something like this happening, you got to put that aside and make sure she okay and make sure her kids got food. But can we do that? Can we do that? Right? Can we say we already know that our children's father is struggling because he already can't keep a job because he has a history of incarceration. And he was working, he was doing his damn thing, and then this happened, and it cut his hours. So now he can't survive, and he's asking you, can he pay you next week for child support? But you don't want to accept it because you want your goddamn money. Now you're getting petty because it was out of his control. His hours got cut. His money got affected. It's out of his control. But can you have sympathy? Can you have understanding? Or can you say, you know what? I know that my son's brother's mother got to go to work, and my son and his brother go to the same school, and I know she ain't got nobody to watch him, and I can't stand her funky behind because she took my man. But can you bring your son's brother to your house and watch him? Can you be that support system for your son's brother? You get what I'm saying? Like, can we think that way? I know some of us do, but can more of us think that way? Right? Can the brother say, even though I can't stand her ass, she cheated on me, she left me, hope she get hit by a bus, but now she out of work, can you make sure you can help her take care of those bills until she get back on her feet? Because she was working, she wasn't bothering you asking for a goddamn penny, but they cut her hours and she lost her job because the business lost money. Can you make sure she's good for the sake of your kids? Can you make sure she's good for the sake of your kids? Can we do that? Can we put our egos aside? Can we put our hurt feelings inside and make sure that our communities are taken care of? Can we do that? Are we big enough for that? See, I'm asking that because I recognize that some of us on this feed, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, some of us on this feed, we can't do that. We haven't been doing that. We haven't been doing it. And I'm asking you out of love, not criticism, right? And don't get defensive, but can we do that? Because we are in a state of emergency. And our communities will be hurt the most. So instead of us spreading misinformation, instead of us out here constantly theorizing about the conspiracy behind coronavirus 19, COVID-19, instead of us doing that, can we really start planning for our own state of emergencies, for our communities? Because we're going to get hit the hardest. We're going to hit the hardest. So Regina says, oh, Ubuntu, collectivism, my brother, sisters, keeper. Absolutely. We are our sisters and brothers keepers. We are. But somebody says, she ain't my sister. Psst, brother, you ain't my brother. I remember I said, good morning, sis. She said, I ain't your sister. I said, good Lord, these people are killing me. I can't with these people today. And I smiled at her. I said, may God bless you. And I just kept on walking. You see, because we have that mindset. We look at ourselves as, this is my life. I'm an individual. No, baby. No, baby. Because when they drop the bomb on us, it's going to get all of us. It ain't going to be just you. It ain't going to be just me. Come on now. That's all I got for y'all tonight. Somebody said, we are in a state of damn near collapse. Somebody said, what's up with the toilet paper? Yeah, what's up with the toilet paper? Why are they taking all the toilet paper? I mean, this is what I'm talking about when I say it's panic. When it's panic, we just get greedy. We just want everything off the shelves. If you ain't got no toilet paper, you ever heard of a washcloth with some soap and water? I mean, that's going to do a better job than the toilet paper ever will. What? Wash your ass. I don't understand people. I really just don't understand people. Danny says, I paid my ex-mortgage for a while because of my daughter. You know what? You a stand-up dude. You a stand-up dude. Because some men, they get angry. Some men and women, you know, we get angry and we don't want to contribute to nothing. We don't want to do a goddamn thing. Everybody want to fight. Everybody want to feud, right? And we all lose when that happens. We all lose. Somebody said toilet paper dry as hell, right? Somebody said Russia had the same with toilet paper. I don't know what's going on with that, right? My perspective says we look at each other differently while they look at us the same. Woo! That is a book. That is a book title. She said we look at each other differently when they look at us the same. Ooh! Ooh! She is an artist. Or he is an artist. Whoever it was. Go ahead. You are right. Somebody said the toilet paper is made in China. Y'all are killing me right here. Yes, family. Listen, everyone shared the video. I thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. You know, we see I'm at an hour time. I didn't go over. I thank you so much for tuning in. I love every last one of you guys. If I didn't read your post, don't feel offended or anything like that. I just wanted to teach. I just want to get out here and just educate on what's going on and have people look at things from a different perspective. Because, yeah, you can go to anybody else's channel and hear about the coronavirus, and that's all cool. I want you to listen to what we all have to say because everybody has a voice. Everybody has something to offer in this movement that we are a part of. We all have something to offer. I can only offer you from what I do in the mental health field. I can only offer you that. I can only let you know that there's going to be people who's going to suffer. Our children are going to be suffering. Our abused populations are going to be suffering. Our substance abuse populations, if you were clean for 6 months, you're going to be dirty tomorrow if you ain't strong enough and if you don't have a community. And that's just the truth. People don't want to hear it, but that is the truth. Recovery is a lifetime, is ongoing, and people are going to be using if the stress piles on, if the money decreases, and if there is no network or support. People are going to be using. And if they're using it in your house, you might get some stuff stolen. We already know how it happens, right? Everything affects all of us. So we like to think that we're individuals, but we're all impacted. We're all affected. Every last one of us, right? So that's why I wanted to give you guys a different perspective. I want to give you guys a mental health perspective. I wanted to give you guys a social work perspective. I wanted to give you guys a perspective that says we have to be collective. That is it. Love you all. Have a blessed night. Thank you for all the donations on YouTube. I thank you guys for the donations. I forgot to say that. You guys are beautiful. I thank you for the donations. I got some emails in. I'm going to respond to the emails this weekend because I'm moving my business online only for the therapy until this whole thing calms down. Because I want nobody coming to my office coughing on me. I'm trying to tell you, I'm like this. Don't shake my hand. Don't come give me no hug. Stay over there. I ain't playing no games. So I got to move all my I hate to say patients, all my women, men, couples, and families that I work with. I got to move them all online because, yeah, I want to stay healthy. Love you guys. Have a blessed night. Share the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook. And let's stay connected. Have a blessed one.